Welcome to the next of the Real Estate Roadkill tutorial videos. In this video I'm going to show you how to make a change to your property list, whether that be to add a new property, delete one, change a price, edit a current listing on there, all accessed through the same dashboard function. So here we are at the front page. As always, we need to get into our dashboard. We do that by, at the end of our domain name, we add the / followed by wp-admin. Once again, so it's / wp-admin, hit enter, and then that will bring us to the WordPress login screen, which I hope you're familiar with now. And you'll enter your username and your password, and once you've done that, you'll access the dashboard, which you should be familiar with by now. Now, to edit the property page, you need to access the page. So you go to the left hand side of the screen where it says pages and hit edit. This will give you the list of pages that you can edit. Now, in my version I have access to all the pages, so I've got more. In yours, the only page that you will see is this one, the Roadkill. It's called Roadkill. It should have -- in front of it because it's below the properties and below the register screen, so it's a sub page. Click on edit, and that will bring up the page in question. Now, just a reminder to make sure that you're in the right format. There are two tabs here. There's the visual and there's the HTML tab. You don't want the HTML tab. The HTML tab is the hypertext markup language. That's the code that's in the background of these pages. You want the visual tab. The visual tab, as with your blog entries and other things that you may have been already doing, is a what you see is what you get editor, and that's what we need. So make sure you're on the visual tab. The next thing that you need to do is, it's much easier to work on a full screen. So on this icon here, it says toggle full screen mode. So if you click on that, you'll get the full page up. Just zoom out about so we can see the whole page. So from left to right, this is the table in which you enter the properties, and this is the table that keeps the columns lined up so that it displays effectively and professionally on the page within your site. Very similar to an Excel spreadsheet, if you're familiar with Excel, in that it's split into cells. The difference here is that as you can't see the grid lines, but each of these entries that you see on the screen is the start of a cell. So to change anything that's already in place, you have to click on the start of that cell. You see where my cursor here is zoomed in on the front of Kissimmee there. So if I wanted to change that city from Kissimmee to something else, I could highlight it, and then I would just type in whatever the change was that I wanted to do. Once again, click on the cell and type in what you want. Now, to move forward to the next cell, you can't tab forward like you can in an Excel spreadsheet. In this case, once you've finished with that cell, you now have to move your cursor to the next cell that you want to alter. So if I wanted to change, in this case, the number of bedrooms, I would click on the start of the next cell. Again, delete what was already there and change it. Once again, click on the start of the cell and make any changes that I wanted. If you wanted to delete an entry, you would do it cell by cell. So in just the way that I've done there, I would highlight, I don't want to do that, I would highlight the particular cell and I would delete it. I would go on to the next cell, delete that, and that is how you delete one item, one line, item by item, cell by cell. Let me put that back together. And what I don't capitalize that one. So once you've played with this a little bit, you'll soon find your way around it. So don't be too frightened by it. Now, it's just a word processor style of function. So if we just move up to the top of the page, you can see all the icons for your typical WordPress and word processing functions. So up here, if we want to change the text, so for instance, if I was changing the status, over here, and I like to have my solds and my pendings in a different color. So if this top one was changing from active to pending, I would delete out the active, change it to pending. I would then highlight the pending and move over to the icon at the top here with text color. Select text color, choose the red one, and then if I go over here, and see it's now pending and in red. So let's do it, put it back as it was, and show you again. So if I want to change the status, I click on the start of the cell. In this case, I delete it, put back in the active, and away we go. So that's editing and deleting, which is fairly straightforward. Now, in terms of adding a new entry, let's move down towards the bottom of the page. On everybody's site, I've put a place marker now. If you look at the bottom left hand corner, for the end of the list. This means that anything above that has already been pre-programmed in the cells. So the cells, although you can't see them, they're hidden. They're there, waiting for a new property to be put in. So if you look here on the bottom line, here's one that I've just started to put in. Hunters Creek condo, put the address, the city, bedrooms, etc. So now I need to just put the rest of the entries in, and I do so just the same way as editing. I have to highlight, move my cursor to the start of the cell in question. Once I've put everything in that I want, I then move my cursor to the next cell, put in there what I want. If it's not lined up, then I've moved the cursor too far, so I just need to delete before or after. And then I just need to put the price in, move to the next cell, and in my case I have the MLS number, and then finally new listings, and that's going to become an active again. Let me just delete a character there so it's lined up, and that's how I would enter a new entry. And you can keep adding, and as you get towards the end of the list, if you haven't already deleted some that have expired above it, if you're running out of space, then let me know and I'll program a bit more. So that's it in a nutshell. I will do another video in the series of how to upload a full Excel spreadsheet, but this is dealing with entries one at a time. So make sure you're familiar with this function before you start looking at adding a complete Excel spreadsheet to the site. Thanks again.